Russia's single largest warehouse burned down last night. And Ukraine says 7 of the country's 10 biggest are now out of action altogether. Overnight, Ukraine launched one of the largest drone raids of the entire war, around 600 aircraft heading for the Moscow region alone, and by Russia's own count more than 800 across the country. 3 of Moscow's 4 airports shut. Some 500 flights were delayed. But the target that mattered sat in the village of Koledino, just south of the capital, the largest warehouse Wildberries owns, 250,000 square meters of Russia's biggest online retailer, burning through the night. A second logistics complex at Domodedovo caught fire too. 1 person was killed, and at least 6 were hurt. And this morning Ukraine's defense ministry made a claim that explains the whole campaign. Of the 10 largest Wildberries hubs in Russia, it says, 7 are now out of operation. So why spend 600 drones on a shopping company? Because Wildberries is not a small thing. It handles something like 45% of all online retail in Russia. Kyiv also says its warehouses move drone parts and sanctioned components for the army. Since this campaign began in mid-July, roughly $5.7 billion of goods have burned. And here is the part that bites. About 80% of that stock was uninsured, and days before the strike started, Wildberries quietly rewrote its terms so that drone damage would not be compensated at all. So the loss falls on the sellers. More than 3,000 of their pickup point franchises are now up for sale, and the marketplace's turnover fell over 10% in a single week. Ukraine has found a target that is felt in Russian living rooms, not just its refineries. Though the refineries are hardly being spared. At Novorossiysk, the Sheskry's terminal, the outlet for around 700,000 barrels of crude a day, stopped loading altogether this week. 1 tanker left empty, and the storage tanks simply filled up. The giant petrochemical works at Tobolsk remained shut, taking with it something near 40% of Russia's output of liquefied petroleum gas. Orsk has stopped processing entirely, with repairs blocked by sanctions. 2/3 of Russia's regions are now rationing fuel in some form. And overnight Ukraine hit something more directly military, a plant at Komenshakhtinsky that makes the solid rocket fuel for Russia's heavy multiple-launch rocket systems. Russia's losses passed 1,467,000 troops, with its drone tally now beyond 463,000. And none of this is bloodless for Ukraine. A Russian missile struck the ArcelorMittal steelworks at Kryvyi, killing 2 workers and halting part of the country's largest metallurgical plant. On the front, the last full day counted brought 212 clashes, Pokrovsk still the hardest pressed. Meanwhile, Turkey had proposed a truce just for the Black Sea, to stop the strikes on ports and shipping. Ukraine accepted it. Russia said no. That wraps up today's update. If you found this useful, press the like button and subscribe in order to support this channel. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.